Welcome to Belgro's Funeral Home, where we celebrate life's precious moments. From the moment you enter our doors, you're met with kindness and care. Our reception area is designed to be more than just a waiting room. It is a place of calm, thoughtfully created to ease the weight of grief. In our conference room, conversations are guided by empathy. Here, our client experience coordinators sit beside you, not just across the table to help plan a service that truly reflects your loved one's story. Whether it's a traditional farewell or a personalized celebration of life, we take time to understand your wishes and offer thoughtful guidance. At the heart of our organization is a dedicated manager who ensures that everything runs smoothly, from the smallest detail to the final farewell. We understand that choosing a casket or a coffin is a deeply personal decision. In our selection room, we provide a calm, respectful environment where families can take their time and explore options that reflect their loved one's life, beliefs, and preference. Our spacious chapel is where memories are honored and lives are celebrated, designed with serenity and warmth. It provides a welcoming space for families and friends to come together in reflection and remembrance. For families choosing cremation, we offer on-site professional cremation services in a setting that upholds dignity, peace, and confidentiality. Our crematorium offers a seamless and respectful alternative to traditional burial, giving families flexibility while maintaining the highest standard of care.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. My name is AMPLIA. Beholder. Today is Monday, November 17th, 2025. And this week, yes, we have a very, very special activity or initiative for you all to enjoy. This week we're celebrating International Men's Day, so for the duration of this week we're going to have in a number of men. It will be an all-men cast, yes, all men hosts, all men reading the news in 90 seconds, and hopefully all our guests will be all men. So it's going to be very, very, very exciting. I have in studio with me co-hosting this morning Mr. Lawrence Hislop. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, AMPLIA. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It is indeed a privilege for me to be here. I'm usually on the interviewee side, and so we want to welcome you to the show this morning and hope we're going to have a fun time today with you.
All right, so we have a number of things to discuss. We have really interesting lineup to discuss, but before we get into any of that, we go over to Kern St. Hilaire, who will give us our news in 90 seconds.
And here's what making the news in 90 seconds for Monday, November 17th, 2025. Yesterday, excitement and fanfare engulfed the Shaw Park Cultural Complex as the Tobago's People's Party, TPP, continued its screening process of prospective candidates for the upcoming THA election. While some candidates arrived alone with file in hand, ready to face the screening committee, others showed up with motorcades, supporters, and rhythm sections in tow. Among the prospectives included some familiar faces, but new faces to the political arena. These included businessman Ricky Jofield, vying for Darrell Spring Wim, former PNM executive member and political activist Latoya Husford for Mason Hall Mariah, party chairman Ann Natasha II, and best friend to Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, Akel Franklin, both vying for Roxborough Argyle, amongst others. The party is set to continue its screening process later today for the districts of Scarborough-Montgrey and Mount St. George Goodwood. Meanwhile, the People's National Movement will continue its town hall meetings in the Darrell Spring Wim district later tonight, where they are expected to reveal the selected candidate. Up next, the United States have restored zero tariff access for Trinidad and Tobago's key nitrogen and phosphate fertilizers, reversing the steep 15% duties imposed in April of this year. This according to a media release by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which stated that after months of intensive diplomacy led by Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar and Foreign Affairs Minister Sean Sobers, the policy change was signed by U.S. President Donald Trump. The restored exemptions are set to protect more than $3 billion TT in annual fertilizer exports and prevent further disruption to TNT's manufacturing sector. And finally, in some sporting action, yesterday, King of the Hill Volume 2 brought some thrilling excitement to the island, giving patrons an up-close and personal experience with live-action motorsport. The event, which was hosted by the Tobago Motorsport Association, focused on sport car drifting on the Mason Hall Belmont Road. Competitors from Trinidad journeyed across to vie for the attractive cash prize and bragging rights. The two-day event was well attended by patrons and participants alike. We'll have more on this story and others in our major newscast at 6:30 p.m. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you very much, Kern, for that news in 90 seconds. And Lawrence, we see where the political climate is heating up. The political parties are gearing up to get ready to really get into that heavy campaigning.
Well, it's what we call the silly season. It's what they call the silly season. And so as the House has dissolved last week, we are expecting that things are going to ramp up on both sides of the fence. And as we saw in the news, the TPP had their screening yesterday and they continue today. And the series of meetings by the PNM continues later on this evening. And so, Akinlabi, it is what it is. It is politics, and
Yes.
so, as they said, civilized warfare.
And I know that there are a couple other political entities on the island. We will still wait to see. I think the UTP stated that they do intend to contend the elections.
Right.
We still have the IDA, and there might be some more other political parties throwing their hats into the fray. We will see coming in the future what may be.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Tobago has been fought over so many times, and in the past, and the fighting over Tobago still continues. And so it is part of who we are as a democratic people, and so we wait to see all comers, and let's hope that the work is done in such a way that it is clean, it's fair, it reflects well on Tobago and Tobago culture.
Yes, I think that's the most important thing, that we have a very clean elections. We know sometimes passions could get a little high amongst persons because after religion is politics. But we really hope that we can have a clean elections in 2026.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, it is that time to celebrate with those who are celebrating with us. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And at Tobago updates, we like to celebrate with those who are celebrating with us. And we start off the celebrations with saying happy birthday to Dejon Saul. Happy birthday to Mr. Saul. God's richest blessings on your special day. We pray you enjoy today and you are staying safe and you're celebrating with friends and family, and you really take time off to reflect on God and His goodness in your life. We continue on and we say happy birthday to Miss Tersa Holder James. Happy birthday to you, Miss Holder James. God's richest blessings to you. We pray His continued protection and His continued blessings and grace upon your life, and that you grow from strength to strength, and that everything that you put your heart to, you do achieve in the next coming year and beyond. We also want to say happy belated birthday to Miss Avanel Beard. Happy belated birthday to you, Miss Beard. Yes, we know you would have celebrated well over the weekend, whether it's with family or friends, and you would have had a good time. And we know that you remain safe. We thank God for that. And we pray that in the upcoming year, you are able to grow in His presence and grow from step to step, whether it's in your career or personal wise. And finally, we say happy birthday to Miss Keisha Walcott. Happy belated birthday, that is, to Miss Keisha Walcott. We know that this weekend would have been a special one for you, would have been a one full of excitement and good food and cheer and good music and dancing and just celebration. And we do thank God for keeping you thus far, and we know that He will keep you for many, many more birthdays to come. So whatever you're celebrating at Tobago Updates, we want to celebrate with you, whether it's your birthday or your anniversary, or you're moving into a new house, or you have a new job, whatever it is you want to celebrate, you can send it to us at Tobago Updates, and we will celebrate with you. All right, Lawrence, who do we have up this morning on the program?
Well, Akinlabi, this morning, first up we have Acting Inspector Glenville Wilson from the TTPS. TTPS updates crime awareness. During this Christmas, we know that, that crime has a funny way of acting up during the Christmas time, and so Acting Inspector Glenville Wilson will be coming in to share with us. Secondly, we have another police officer, senior officer, ACP Collis Hazel, director of the Roxborough Police Youth Club, and he's coming to share with us and with Tobago about the activities surrounding the 35th anniversary of the Roxborough Police Youth Club, one of the longest standing and I believe one of the largest police youth clubs, not only in Tobago but in Trinidad and Tobago. And finally, to round things up, we're going to bring in Pastor Clive Dutton, a former independent senator, former member of the Police Service Commission, and he'll be speaking, or we'll be sharing with him, protecting our young men from crime, a very serious and very significant topic this morning.
Yeah? So you see, viewers, we have a very diverse lineup for you all this morning, and we want you all to do us a favor. We hope that you will stay with us, whether it's on our Facebook Live or YouTube channel, 102 on AMPLIA, 121 or 130 on Flow, and 33 on Digicel, wherever you are, whether it's Tobago, Trinidad, the region, or anywhere around the world. Do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it, anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, and we have in studio with us this morning Acting Inspector Glenville Wilson of the TTPS, and he's here to speak to us about the TTPS updates as well as crime awareness during the Christmas season. Good morning and welcome, Inspector.
Good morning, good morning. Pleasant good morning to the viewing public of Trinidad and Tobago. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be back with you all this morning. So in terms of updates, within the past week, following a series of criminal activities in Tobago, we, the police, were successful in arresting 7 persons, right? We have 2 persons have already appeared before the court, one of them for obtaining credit by false pretense, and the other appeared for robbery. We still have 4 persons yet to appear before the court this morning, 2 on outstanding warrants, one for possession of firearm and ammunition, and the other for possession of ammunition. So that is where we are at for the past week. We are seeing some traction, although it's slow. We are making some progress with these matters in Tobago.
I know you mentioned last time you were here concerning the shootings. There was a couple or one that was still outstanding.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm proud to say that that person was charged. That's the person who's due to appear this morning for possession of firearm, ammunition, and wounding with intent.
Okay.
Right. So we did make a dent in this series of gun-related offences that have been happening in the Tobago space.
Also, I know in the past we've been speaking about burglaries and home invasions.
Yes.
What is the update concerning those types of crimes?
Well, in terms of those crimes at present, we have 2 suspects in custody. One that pertains to the recent one in the Sherburne district where the security officer was shot. We have 2 persons who are currently assisting the police in that regard.
Okay. And we want to get into the crime awareness during the Christmas season. We know that the Christmas season is one where a number of robberies, petty thefts take place, break-ins of cars, that kind of thing. So what does the TTPS want to let the public know concerning crime during Christmas?
Well, as we all know by now that we have just exited the festive season, the carnival period, and we are now entering the Christmas period. And I think that everybody know by now, last week we had our first cruise ship docking in the port of Scarborough, and that marks the commencement of the tourist season, what we will call the cruise ship season, that is going to last until April 2026. You know, we expect approximately 42 cruise ships that are going to be docking in the Tobago space. Not just in Scarborough, we have some that be docking in the eastern part of Tobago, also the northern part of Tobago. And I am proud to announce that the police have already assembled a tonload of initiatives that we intend to embark on. As recent as last week, we rolled out with our first initiative. We have already intensified the presence of the police in and around Scarborough, also in the Crown Point district and all up in the eastern side of Tobago. So we also intensified the presence of the traffic department in Scarborough. We will definitely be enforcing the traffic laws in and around Scarborough, at least to make that place a safe place for the incoming tourists and persons who are going to be out there on the streets shopping for the Christmas period. You know, some advice we want to give to the persons who will be out there for the Christmas period moving around. We have persons who have already applied for their Christmas loans at the banks and at the credit unions, and we know when we go to the bank, you know, we have persons who are looking out, right? We have persons who operate in groups, some of whom will stay in the bank and some stay outside and monitor the movements of these persons who are collecting these large sums of cash. You know, sometimes they don't even have to see the money. They will hear the machine counting the money, and they communicate with their counterpart outside and say, yo, this person just collected, right? And in addition to that, we know that persons, in particular women, no disrespect or nothing against women, but we know when we collect that money, we are being asked by the teller, do you want it in an envelope? And we say yes. And just as that money goes into that envelope, it remains there until it's all spent, right? So we have people moving around, they go into proprietors and they are purchasing stuff and they are taking the money from this envelope. And just seeing that money coming from the envelope, it's suggestive that this person just came from the bank. And why go shopping with $5,000 when you only need $500? right? You are making yourself an easy target. So we are asking people to not move around with large sums of cash. If you know you're going to buy something that worth $500, don't have $5,000 in your possession. We are also trying to encourage people to move with the times, move with the technology, and if they can do their purchases with bank cards or credit cards, that way you have a paper trail, and even if the card is stolen, you can always have it replaced. At least you still have your money.
Yeah.
But if the money is stolen, it's gone, right? And then it's more work for the police to do. We also have people who will be shopping online, marketplace, and we are asking people to look out for the too good to be true deals, right? We go into marketplace and we see deals that are outrageous and we want to embark on it. And sometimes you get involved, you engage the person. We have persons who are creating fake profiles and they engage you, and when they get the money, you go on to Facebook and the site has disappeared. So we are asking people to be very cautious. You can look at and see when the profile was created. That's a telltale sign. Look and see how much activity is on the profile, how much friends this person have. Look at the photo, right? We have AI that has come on stream now, and it's causing some problem. While it has its good, there's also the bad that people will use tactics to deceive you and get your money, right?
So Inspector, if we could just move the trajectory a little bit, speak to us about your personal space kind of crime,
Right.
your home, at this time particular, this season.
Yes.
How do we mitigate any risk that we may
Right.
encounter?
So we are asking persons to make themselves less of a target when they are caring about themselves, right? What we find happening in the Tobago space, that the hot item, the hot item is jewelry, right? When we have these break-ins and these home invasion style robberies, persons ask for cash and jewelry, and intelligence is suggesting that the cost of jewelry has spiked, right? So persons are investing in the criminal element. They may pay $1,000 and send people to rob, because when they get that jewelry, it's worth 10 times what they put out. So they are going at that jewelry, and we see what's happening in the Caribbean seas now. Persons are less likely to go and import that drugs from outside. So there's a bickering amongst the persons who are involved in the sale of illegal drugs. And so we know how that demand and supply works, right? So we are having that infighting. We are asking persons to make yourself less of a target. Despite the jewelry belong to you. You may want to adorn yourself and be out there, but you are being looked at. The public is looking at you. The criminal element is looking at you. They are doing research, and they are marking you. So we are asking persons in their personal space if they can have cameras erected, fortify their homes, because if your gold chain is worth $100,000, we expect that your home will have security measures in place in case you are not at home. It will be hard for these persons to invade your home and get your valuables.
And then with the movements of persons, you're talking about strength in numbers and so on. So if you're going out the line, you want to make sure that it's a group.
Yes, I agree, and I was getting to that.
Right.
Even when you're out there shopping, we are asking people to move in groups. We oftentimes see the women with their handbags. We know they're going to shop, but they have more than cash in the bag. They have a whole dressing table, and that is what tends to attract the criminal element. We have seen footages on the television with incidents at Charlotte Street and George Street in Trinidad, where persons capitalize on that busy period, and they see a woman walking alone, they run and they grab the bag, and the woman have less of a tendency to fight.
Yes.
So they will target them as they see them. So we are asking persons to walk in group. Do not walk with any unnecessary items. Do not walk with large sums of cash, right? And be aware of your surroundings at all times.
There's also a scenario where you buy your gifts, you buy whatever you're buying, you're shopping out. So you probably say, let me go put some in the vehicle, come back again.
Right.
but that leaves it susceptible. Speak to that. What is the best way in which to store things in your vehicle as you continue shopping?
Right, so we are asking people to not park their vehicles in any isolated area. For instance, in Scarborough, you won't be shopping at Port Mall and your car parked at Garden Car Park, and you are approaching that vehicle on your own. We are asking, even if you have to secure your items, not leave them vulnerable in an unattended car. Although the vehicle is locked, we have some persons with clean glass, no tint. So, the criminal element may be passing by. It's not their intention to steal at that point in time. But when they see this stuff, they capitalize on the opportunity and they will take their belongings. Some people are out there and looking to get easy gains. So we're asking everybody to think, be vigilant. Don't tell yourself that it will not happen to you, because the time has changed. And while we continue to, in our efforts as the police to make sure that Tobago remains a safe place, we are asking people to use their common sense while they're out there.
And they can also store their goods in the trunk, keep it out of sight,
yes,
perhaps slide it under the seats, that kind of thing.
That's correct. If better can be done, we are asking people to endeavor to conceal the items, not have it in plain sight, where it will trigger somebody to steal.
Okay, and also concerning in the home itself, the house, how can persons go about safeguarding their homes better?
Right, so we have numerous security measures in place that we can capitalize on. I know that most people, and we the police, always ask because it helps us in going forward in terms of solving crimes. Right? Even if you have one camera, some people say it's costly, but you may lose more than the cost of the implementation of the security feature. Right? We ask people to put in burglar proof. The business owners, we ask them to set up this press button security feature where you engage the security. In some instances, you are not able to speak or not able to actually move. You might just be able to take your finger and press a button, and then we get that response. So we have seen in the past, like approaching the festive period, we had some robberies at credit unions in the past. And we are asking persons to not be that easy target that they were back then.
Right.
We even saw the incident with the gas station, and sometimes we have the challenge in doing that investigation where there's the absence of the camera, there's the absence of eyewitness. It will take a longer time for the police to make a breakthrough than if they had these systems in place.
Yeah. Right. I know we're running out of time, but very quickly, there's some, I don't know if you'll put this in the category of a crime, but some inflicted crime, which is the DUIs, and we in the festive season, we know. so speak to that very quickly.
I know while the police officers were trained to use their discretion, we will also advise to enforce the law at the same time. So we're asking people to be very cautious. You're moving around, you're paranging, or as the case may be, appoint a designated driver, because the police have their instructions, and while the tourists are going to be here, we don't want any mishap in terms of somebody drinking and driving and bounce down a tourist or anything of the sort.
Saves lives as
yes,
well.
We're looking at safety on the roadway, and we want to engender that feeling of safety and security amongst the tourists and the citizens of Tobago.
All right, we want to thank you, Acting Inspector Glenville Wilson of the TTPS, coming in and speaking to us about the TTPS updates, as well as crime awareness during the Christmas season. You heard all the tips, all the suggestions. We hope that you take it on board and you safeguard yourself in this festive season that is coming up. Okay, viewers, we have to go for a short break, but when we come back, we continue our conversations. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
The elderly can't have fun too. We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure our bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of Good Steel Pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
So viewers, welcome back. And as was indicated earlier, with us in studio this morning is no stranger to Tobago and all of Trinidad and Tobago, ACP Collis Hazel, the director of the Roxborough Police Youth Club. And this morning we talking with him about the 35th anniversary of the Roxborough Police Youth Club. Inspector, oh sorry, my apologies. ACP, talk to us. Tell us what's happening with one of the strongest police youth clubs in Trinidad and Tobago on the 35th anniversary.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning to all and those persons who are looking to us live in this very beautiful island of Tobago. It has been 35 years, a long time, you know, and today, this week, we continue to celebrate the Roxborough Police Youth Club of that significant milestone in history on the island, as one of the police youth clubs from in Trinidad and Tobago, from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, who has kept the faith and continue to be a beacon of hope for young people, not so young persons on the island of Tobago. The Police Youth Club was birthed in 1990, and as you know, that was one of the darkest days for Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And our organization started just after the attempted coup of 1990. We were established on November 23rd, 1990, and the coup happened in July. And therefore, it is one of these programs that was organized by the police service in keeping with providing an opportunity for leisure opportunity for our young persons on the island. And of course, it was a crime reduction area. As you may well be aware, during that time, Tobago East, and particularly Roxborough, was affected by means of high crime among tourists, as a matter of fact, where several persons used to utilize the opportunity on the Windward Road to, confiscate cameras and stuff like that, rob tourists going to the waterfall, Kings Bay waterfall, and all these places. And we felt that, as a unit, it was important that we develop a program in order to work with these young people in order to change their behavior. And that grew born the Roxborough Police Youth. The Roxborough Police Youth Club was born out of that initiative, where we had Inspector Ulrich Duke, at the sergeant then at Roxborough Police Station, is responsible in terms of, we took the idea to him, myself, and Lyndon Ramsden in the initial stage. And, we started the organization, recruited members, having people join, and there was a flow of persons running together, to be a part of the organization. And so we started at Roxborough Anglican School, and I recall Inspector Cooper and Mary Reed being the persons who came from Trinidad to meet with the children and to talk with them and to initiate it. Shortly after that, the school classroom just could not accommodate us. So we had to start thinking about expansion and finding a place on our own. And of course, later on, we were able to find the dilapidated building on Roxborough Bloody Bear Road, which was a star-class project of the Roxborough Secondary School that went into some ruin, and we sought the assistance and guidance, and we were able to acquire that building from Miss Merle Chance, teacher at the school, and Garth James, who was the teacher then, had to rally with Mr. Roll Orr, the principal, in order to try to get that building. And we got it, and through community stakeholder engagement, we were able to work, as I was educating some of the new members in terms of how we acquired that. It was literally a sheep pen inside there, and days after day cleaning, there's a vine called Wait a While, trying to clean those night after night, day after day, in order to get that space ready to where it is now. It was a lot of sacrifice.
So what are some of the activities, because we're hearing about how much you all really toil to get this Police Youth Club off the ground to have a positive influence on the youths in the Windward area in Tobago. And we know that you all have had a lot of success over the 35 years.
Yeah.
So what are you all doing this year to celebrate that 35 years of success?
Okay, so we started Saturday. There was the biannual general meeting and election of officers for the Police Youth Club. It was a huge turnout of young people. they elected their executive who will chart the course for the next 2 years. And following that, yesterday we had our annual our interfaith service in giving thanks to God, bringing our parents and our members together in terms of sharing that time and moment at the Roxborough Revival Center Church yesterday. Today is Dub Media Monday for all of us, and therefore on all media platforms you will see an interview being taken place for Roxborough Police Youth Club. On Wednesday, we focus on providing some, we started even before the idea started, before the storm, the hurricane in Jamaica. So we're going to be having I Can Donate. And that initiative really was to donate to needy in the community, but we have shifted that from the community of Tobago to ask people to please come to the Roxborough Police Youth Club headquarters on Thursday and show your solidarity for the people of Jamaica in providing cans to the value of $35, which we will surely ensure that the people of Jamaica, because one of our executive members is a graduate out of Mona campus and would love to, has already shipped some things off, and we will continue in terms of that vein in supporting persons who have devastated in that area. We moved on Saturday, and we are going to relaunch our social media optics in terms of looking back at our website and a relaunch of it. And on Sunday is our grand gala black tie affair, where the young people will be awarded and recognized for their 35 years in establishment. We are also launching on that day our 35th anniversary magazine. Yeah.
So we hear the list of activities that's lined up for the youth club, and it sounds like a really exciting week of celebration that you all have. What do you want persons to take out of this, like members to take out of this week of celebrations?
I think it is all a reflection. Our team focuses from the whole idea of from vision to victory. Yeah? 35 years of success within the organization is no small feat. And therefore, it is important for those persons now who are you saying to them, some who now elected on the executive is not 35, nowhere 35 years, are young people. And therefore, this week will give people an opportunity in order to look back at the organization, look back. We are featuring 35 past members in the magazine and sharing with the children their success stories that they would have been through. You're talking about people like Father Steve Duncan, who is the parish priest somewhere now in the east in Trinidad. Steve was the first secretary of the Police Youth Club. You're talking about Minister Ayanna Webster Roy.
Okay.
We have pictures of Ayanna coming to Police Youth Club in her socks, in going to church to Thanksgiving service. So we produce quite a lot in terms of, just to name a few, you have yesterday at our anniversary, we had Nyasha France Smith, who of course is a teacher at I think is at Scarborough. She has been moving to one of those schools, and she was the featured speaker. So we continue to look at other persons that would have, through the years, would have focused and paid. We would have been part of their development, and of course we are going to share that with all of Tobago.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up. We heard so much exciting stuff about the Roxborough Police Youth Club. But just one last message for the public concerning the 35th anniversary.
So it is a celebration. It is something that I would want to encourage all parents alike to, to take heed that we are seeing so many things happening to young people within the spheres, and therefore I would want to ask persons to align themselves to a youth organization. Whether it be a police youth club, whether it be a scout group, whether it be a youth organization, is responsible for molding and shaping people's life. It provides a different platform of discipline. And I would want to ask people to get themselves involved and be a part. There are police youth clubs throughout Tobago, and get joined up in terms of one, and you will see benefit coming your way.
All right, thank you very much, ACP Collins Hazel, the director of the Roxborough Police Youth Club, for coming in and speaking to us about their 35th anniversary celebrations and all the things we can look forward to in the upcoming week. Before we go on a break, up next we have Pastor Clive Dutton, former independent senator and former member of the Police Service Commission, and he's going to be speaking about protecting our young men from crime. So that will be on the other side of the break. But in the meantime, do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Pastor Clive Dutton is up next.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Hair goals, we've got 'em.
At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Update Morning Show, and we have on the line with us this morning Pastor Clive Dutton, who's a former independent senator, former member of the Police Service Commission, and he's here to speak to us about protecting our young men from crime. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning. I'm delighted to be here.
So we're talking about protecting our young men from crime, and we know the situation within Trinidad and Tobago currently with our crime situation. Speak to us about this connection between our young men and the criminal underworld.
Okay. I want to mention two quick things. Number one, the issue that everybody is chatting about now, and that's the issue of marginalization. Youth on the fringe, they're on the fringe in the church, in the school, in the neighborhood. And I want to put in that functional illiteracy. All right? They pass through 5 years like a dose of salts, but when they leave, they will have a graduation, but not able to read and write. And that's something you have to watch at. So that's number one. Number two, I want to deal with the intergenerational crisis we have. Because a lot of the young males, all right, they are being recruited. And I should say there's a successful recruitment program, not by mainstream society, but by gangs and gang leaders. So we have to look at those two issues. And perhaps there's a third issue we have to look at, and that's the issue of parentification. All right? Some people call it adultifying, whereby the father is not playing a role in the home, and this guy assumes a responsibility to deal with his siblings, a responsibility for which he's not aware. So I want to mention those three areas. By the way, we have some primary school kids in Standard 4 and 5 who are already on the fringe of gangs. And I think the society has to start, it has to start there, because we may think it's just limited to the secondary school. But the recruiters in the gangs are not foolish. All right. I went to St. Lucia and I saw where 6, 7, and 9 gangs from Trinidad had also penetrated, all right, the primary school. You know, the guys are okra with what is taking place, and therefore they are preparing. So before they go to Form 1, they'll already be recruited by the gang element. I really think Trinidad and Tobago is in denial when it comes to the extent of the gang crisis and the involvement of males, so that to keep the gangs going, the gang leader knows that one day he will perish, and that is why some of the gang leaders put down $30,000 for the coffin, and he wants to make sure the gang survives him, you know, outlast him. So that is what is taking place there. So I believe in terms of the school and the church, all right, I want to mention that the school and the church and the community, what we call the triangulation, a lot has got to happen there in terms of our uniting to save the young men. Now, for the first time in my life, I think as far as I could recall, I have a case involving a mother. Today, I'm talking about today, a mother and a strange common law husband. He grabbed the child. Okay, he will consider himself marginalized. And I'm not sure we're doing our best to deal with functional illiteracy in this society. That has got to be something that we must put. I hope the new government looks at that carefully and has a strategic plan to deal, especially the young people in school are not performing well because many of them are functionally illiterate.
But Pastor, we hear the concerns, and we've been hearing these concerns for quite some time. But the question I have is, what makes the gang culture so much more attractive than mainstream culture? And if we want to use that terminology, because you are seeing the results of being a member of a gang. You're seeing that it leads to either imprisonment or death. And so what makes that culture more attractive to the young men than mainstream culture?
Okay, because of a difference in perspective, and I'm glad for that question. Because of a difference in perspective. Now, we may think that a lot of young people don't want to go to the prison. I want to change that perception. A lot of young people want to go into prison. All right? And that's something that they see the prison because they recruited from prison too. They're guys, we think guys behind prison bars. I know of a guy because I was involved in this situation where he had killed 16 people from behind prison bars. But some of our young people don't understand that, so that they are recruited and they want to join the gang in the prison. Okay? They are encouraged to go to prison. So that's number one. Number two, we may see gangs as you quite rightly said, as a life-threatening thing. But for them, the gang is an exciting thing. It is not by any mistake, Brother H, that a lot of young people want to gravitate to the gangs because of the psychology of young people. The 14 and 15 and 16-year-old, they love to take risk. They're not as protective as us, and they want to go in there. And the other reason I want to give you, some young men hate their fathers so much that anything that will antagonize their fathers, and perhaps both parents, they want to be involved in it just to get revenge on their parents. And of course, some fathers, they reject, all right, any kind of responsibility for the young man that they brought into the world. So there are a number of factors there. And I was telling Marlon Hopkinson recently on Channel 6, I am not sure that we have demonstrated a compassion for the marginalized male. I'm not sure of that. He's blamed, he's harassed, all right, he's rejected, but I am not sure we put things in place, even in the church sometimes, to really show him that kind of concern and compassion and love, to bring him back. Because you're talking about bringing back these guys already on the fringe. And we have got the learning to, I could give you an example of a 15-year-old that the mother and the grandmother called me. The grandmother was 99 years old. He hated the grandmother. He saw the grandmother as, material for the cemetery. And the mother and the mother was a 4th-stage cancer case. And because she saw guns on his phone, I live in Diego Martin. It is a Diego Martin case I'm telling you about. And Diego has been a hotspot for some time. It's kind of a little tapering down now. The mother told him, you cannot come home at 9 or after 9. Well, if your school opening at 3 o'clock, what happened in 6 hours? And she was a concerned parent. But she paid a price for that because when she locked him out, he break down the door and kick her in her face. And the mother was a 4th-stage cancer, a 4th-stage cancer survivor. And I feel society is getting more and more reckless because we affirm recklessness. We protect recklessness. Or you could have senior people in this society, senior men of very qualified and aristocratic nature in different professions abusing young boys, what we call pederastic homosexuality. Or we could have them abusing young girls too. And because of their position, they are protected. So I'm saying there's a role for every level of the society to play. And the last thing I want to say, I'm not sure our teacher training programs are constructed to deal with some of these issues, because I have spoken to teachers and I could tell you, I mean, some of them are frustrated like hell, and they're not going to tell the police what's going on. They wouldn't tell the police about the form for students being in the school, and that is a reality. They will not tell the police about, or even the appearance of the downtown group in the school where they have seen guns and trained to use the guns. All of that is taking place in the society. And I think the society of Trinidad and Tobago needs to have a reality check. Okay?
Pastor Dutton, so how
Yes.
do we go about, you spoke about the lack of compassion for the marginalized male. How do we go about changing the mindset of the society to see the male beyond their crimes, see the male beyond their truancy, see the male beyond the problems that they cause society, and start to get into why they're doing this in order to bring them back from the brink?
I feel, all right, the way forward, the way forward is to have structured support groups in the society whereby we adopt young men who we call, in quotes, marginalized. I think that is the way forward. All right? We have got to look at the issue of a comprehensive. If I could recommend to this government anything, I would say let us have a thorough adoption program. Groups like MILAT and MIPAC, we need to decentralize them. They are good programs, but they need to be decentralized. And the other thing is, the churches must unite, to my mind, to form interfaith groups in every community where they will have as their top priority reaching young people who are on the fringe. In other words, I am saying the gangs are doing a very successful job. We must counterpunch the gangs by setting up structures that are more effective than the gangs. And then the media has a role to play. And I thank you for having me on to discuss this. But we need to get the media involved, and we need to use social media for a positive. You know, I belong to a group called CTA, headed by a Muslim, and I'm glad to say that it's headed by a Muslim. Is a cross-cultural group. And what is happening is that we met yesterday for our annual general meeting, and we're doing some animation stories in connection with the University of Trinidad and Tobago to deal with the issue of how we reach the male. Of course, we're meeting with the minister coming up shortly, and we're meeting with the NPTA, all right, to involve the Parent Teachers Association in a bigger way. The point I'm making, all of us, all right, and I think we have to make compassion a strategic value. How do we, get folks to internalize the value of compassion? And of course, to my mind, the home and the media, they have the two largest chunks of the responsibility cake in terms of dealing with this.
Well, Pastor, I know we're running out of time, but I just want to you said something that triggered my mind when you speak about the media. Yes. And the role that the media has to play. And this could also speak to that music culture that feeds into the gang culture, that makes the gang culture seem sexy. And I think that's one of the challenges we have. How do we show the young men and society that living is actually more exciting and more sexy than the gang culture, than dying? How do we use that medium that I think has played a significant role in the uptick in gang violence, that what we may call Trinidad music and so on? How do we use that same type of music to spread a message? Because I know some of the artists would have changed their lives and so on. How do we use that same medium, the same quote unquote Trinidad music, and the same artists who have recognized that what they're doing has been a detriment to society? How then do we use that as a wedge, or an entering wedge, to try and reverse what we're seeing right now?
All right. Now, that to my mind is where you have hit the nail. number one, I'm saying that the media now must refocus on what sells and sacrifice what sells for what is genuine and authentic. In other words, I am saying restructure front page and premium time. All right, restructure that. And it may mean in the interim, because you see, Sharon Stone made a statement, if it bleeds, it leads. So I am saying we have got to highlight the positive role models you're talking about, the Roxborough experience, for example, Shabadi in my area in Digo Martin. You got to highlight role models, not influencers, but role models. Because influencer could be bad like hell, like you kidnap the word from the Trinidad music. So I feel that is important. I feel the church too, with its musical groups, and as a church, and the Adventists, we have a lot of great singers and things. And I think we must invest more. So I come into a word, the folks, I come into a word called budget. And that is the church must budget more for highlight, critical music, because if it doesn't sell, a media house wouldn't be interested in you. So we have to show that we understand what are the values. Now we can't compete with the state in terms of budget. All right. So that is important. The government, of course, all right, and the opposition must unite. And that's like pulling teeth without anesthetic. But I'm still saying it because it has to be said in terms of coming up with a strategic plan to highlight on the media and on social media, TikTok, for example, which is a hot place. I am seeing where young people flood. We have got to know where they're going, so we will scratch where it is itching. And I am saying that is what has to happen. And we have to call upon the business world, all right, who invest a lot of money in the media to sell their products, to take a piece of that budget, all right, and focus on highlighting role models among the youth and among, highlight among the young role models and the adult role models like ourselves to push, for example, the drug-free lifestyle. I think that is a big thing. You know what I see happening now, folks? A lot of our young people are engaged in alcohol drinking and smoking. And some of them are also engaged in the black cigarette. That's the marijuana and the cocaine. They say they get almost an orgasmic high with that. So we've got to look at that. Okay, we have look at influencers like Kyle on TV. They have some of them there on social media. We have got to challenge, all right, using the same medium that other negative people are using. We must use it positively. And I think your station is well positioned to start the revolution, because it will call for a revolution.
All right. Thank you very much, Pastor Clive Dutton, for taking the time out to speak with us. Unfortunately, we have to end the interview here. And we hope that the efforts would continue in protecting our young men from crime. Viewers, we have to go for a short break, but when we come back, we have one last interview for you. Yes, we have a surprise interview for you. One last short surprise interview for you. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and the service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
The buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Put a smile on your face place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, and we have some special guests in studio with us right now. We have Mr. Damien Edwards, who is the president of the Adventist Layperson and Industries Association, as well as the vice president, Mr. Diamond Andrews, and they are here to speak to us about Jamaica hurricane relief. Yes, you know the devastating hurricane that struck Jamaica a couple of weeks ago. And the Adventist Church in Tobago has some relief efforts on the way, and they're about to head over to Jamaica with the products tomorrow, but they need your help. Good morning and welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
So glad to be on board as usual, Damien. We are glad for the opportunity to let the people know what we are doing.
So tell us about this hurricane relief that the Adventist Church has been organizing.
Well, good morning once more, and I must let the people of Tobago know that you know us as ASI. Once there is a disaster, we are always on board, and so Jamaica is definitely in need of assistance. And so, as our host would have indicated, that there's a plane coming tonight, not tomorrow, but tonight, and so we need your help. We need your help to offset some fuel charges. And so Brother Diamond is going to tell you some more about that.
Okay, so what is happening, folks, people, ladies and gentlemen, whoever you are, boys and girls, anybody who needs to donate, we are at the point where we are sure that the plane is coming. A plane is leaving Jamaica this evening and is going to get here like about 7 in the night. We want to load the plane. We already have stuff to load the plane. Our biggest challenge is just getting some fuel to have the plane running up and down. We need 800 gallons of fluid. And it is causing us about $25,000, roughly, TT dollars, which is equivalent to about $4,000, Brother Damien?
US, yes.
US. And so we are trying to get that organized, to put in place. We are asking for your contribution, whatever you can. We already have some generators, we have the food stuff, we have some pampers and things to make up the weight of the plane. The plane could carry like about 2,000 pounds, and the generators are already 1,200 and a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so we just need a backup now to fill up the plane, and then we need your contribution to help us with the fuel for the aircraft. So help us, please.
If persons want to reach out to you or to get in contact, to give some assistance, how can they do so?
Okay. My number is 721-6409. Brother Damien's number is 682-9245. These two numbers are the two numbers that we are working with right now. We can't give out all the numbers. It doesn't make sense. So anybody need to contribute, you can call us up and say, hey, I have a $5,000 I want to put. I want to have $50 I want to put. Whatever you want to put, to help us with the fuel for the plane. The Jamaicans need our help. And as you know, we don't ever back down when it comes to a disaster. We are always first. We are always in front. Grenada, St. Vincent, Grenadines, we are always running out quickly. And help us. Please help us.
So could you repeat those numbers once again? And also for persons who might not be in contact with you, they might just want to do a quick transfer of money, of funds. What bank account can they send money to?
Okay. My number is 721-6409. 721-6409. Brother Damien's number is 682-9245. Any of those numbers. If you need to contribute, you can call in one of us and say, hey, I am ready. The banking account is going to be in ASI Tobago chapter. We have chapters all over the world. And so the Tobago chapter, Brother Damien is just looking up that there, is at the RBC Bank, Royal Bank, right? And Damien is looking for that number right now. He's going to give it to you in a second. While he's doing that, we just want everybody to know, please help Jamaica. Jamaica need our help. Hurricane Flora, everybody help us. And we know what we are talking about. I was in the Hurricane Flora story. I'm of age. You are not of age to know that. Damien is not of age either. But I was there in the whole plan when Grenada and St. Vincent, they brought, all kind of food for us, So it's time, now is the time for us to help Jamaica. Let's do the best we can. Tobago is Tobago. Let's make Tobago excited as usual.
In terms of the feedback from corporate Tobago, what has that been like so far?
Excellent, phenomenal. In like a day and a half between last week, Thursday to Friday, we were able to get from the Tobago folks, the Tobago business people, 13 high-powered generators. And I want the people to know that. And then food stuff, we're not taking any big sort of food stuff right now because the cans and so on, they might be too heavy. But we could do with some Pampers, we could do with some sheets. You see sheets? The folks are sleeping just on the solid, on a piece of sponge. Some of them have no sponge. But at least if they could get a sheet, so we could do with some sheet sets, we could do with some sanitary pads for the young ladies, we could, not the young ladies, the ladies. So many things, light items, toilet paper and things like that, we could do with some of those right now, just to fill up the back of the plane. The generators would go flat on the ground. On top of that, we could put another...
And you say you're looking for one more, is it one more generator you're looking for?
We have
one
enough generators. We have enough generators. I'm going to pick up one. The last one we need to pick up is by Tambrid Radio. They gave us one, and the other business people gave us, I don't have time to call all those business people names, but they did well, very well. Thank you, Tobago business people for giving us those generators.
So your song as if you might have a caller playing back for a second trip.
Well, I spoke to the captain last night and he told me, he said, Diamond, if I have to come back, just tell me when. I will come back. The biggest problem, as I'm saying, is just to fuel the plane. And then I asked him, I said, Captain, how much you're charging? How much for you? He said, I'm a missionary. I am an ASI member. It's an ASI plane. We have planes. We have our own planes and so on. He said, if you want to give me $1, I'll take it. If you want to give me $5, I'll take it because I have to eat, I have to live. So we are going to bring him in tonight. We're going to feed him. We're going to put him somewhere to sleep tonight. And we're going to send him off tomorrow morning back up the road of the plane. So we don't have to pay him any money. He's a part of our ASI team. He and his father, they are ASIers, and they have a couple of small airplanes that they use for relief funds and so on.
Okay, so I think they will bring up the account information right now. They should be bringing up the account information soon. It's a Royal Bank account.
Yes, and we want the folks to know. That if they are giving, still call us and tell us they are going to the bank and give, so that we know what we have.
Okay.
You follow me there?
Yes, I understand. So even if the account information doesn't come up right now, they could still come to... You can read it out first.
Okay.
All right, and so the account number is 10,000. That is 10,000 3110103348. Let me say that again. 10,000 3110103348. And so, viewers, I truly appeal to you. We really need divine intervention. And so you can assist, you can contribute to this worthy cause. We really, really need your help. It's $25,000 we are looking for the fuel. And I know, Tobago, you never disappoint. And so I appeal to you once more to give as much as you can, from $1 to $100 to $500 to $1,000 to $5,000 to $10,000.
Just call the bank account number once more again. We'll see if we can try to bring it up on the screen, but in case, just call it out once again.
10,000 3110103348. 10,000 3110103348. Royal Bank is our bank.
Amen. All right, so viewers, you heard that. The ASI, they need your assistance in covering some fuel costs to get some relief packages over to Jamaica. You know, Jamaica has been reeling with that fallout from the hurricane that they experienced in the past couple of weeks. And aid has been coming into the country of Jamaica.
Yes,
and the Adventist Church in Tobago is doing their part to also bring aid. And they need your assistance. So whatever you can give it freely. And you will get that blessing in return. All right, viewers, we have unfortunately come to the end of our programming, and up next we have Beneath the Surface with Ria. Ria, are you there?
I am here, Akinlabi. Good morning to you and good morning to all of your viewers.
So, Ria, who do we have up today in Beneath the Surface?
All right, so this morning we're going to kick this week off. As you know, this is our final week for Beneath the Surface. We've already had 2 weeks going on, and this is our final week. And to start us off this morning, we will be chatting with Assemblyman Zorisha Hackett, a representative for Bethesda Lekato. She's also the Secretary for the Division of Education, Research and Technology. She's going to be on the program this morning, and we're going to be chatting about the ins and outs of the division, her accomplishments, her goals, some of the struggles as well. But certainly we're going to have an interesting time chatting with her.
All right. So we look forward to that conversation on Beneath the Surface. It is up next. Viewers, Beneath the Surface with Ria up next with Assemblywoman, with our Secretary, Zorisha Hackett, as she talks about her last 4 years as the area representative. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is up next. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Beneath the Surface is up next.
LambFest 2025, now in its third year, an event on the for the World Food Day celebrations did not disappoint, as it showcased the culinary skills of our local chefs here on the island. This unique event also saw scores of people eager to taste and enjoy the festivities.
Today we gather not just to celebrate our third annual LambFest, but to honor the hard work, passion, and resilience of Tobago's farmers, chefs, and entrepreneurs who continue to drive our island agricultural success. LambFest is more than just an event. It's a showcase of innovation, community, and the rich culinary heritage that makes Tobago unique. Each dish, each display, and each conversation today tells a story of dedication and progress.
All of this started 3 years ago in my conference room at the Division of Food Security. The Tobago Integrated Livestock Association, they were now forming, and they understood that the small ruminant industry needed to be developed on the island. And I gave them that responsibility of assisting us at the division to develop the small ruminant industry. Because it was non-existent. We hardly had any stock on the farms. And 3 years later, we're now having 3 LambFests in Tobago.
This is the first LambFest where all the meats have been sold out, have been purchased by the caterers. On site, and every meat will purchase. We have no fresh meat. This is the first year, no fresh meat on sale for patrons. So I would say that everything is working in accordance and the market is really developing. I see the LambFest being franchised and possibly being spread out throughout the Caribbean. Who knows, probably international as well.
My name is Gillian. I'm from the UK and I'm staying here for a little while. I was told by my friend that about this LambFest, and it's fantastic. My first bite, one of many, it's absolutely so delicious.
I think it's a great initiative because it's a interesting spin on approach to food security in a way that I think Tobagonians could relate to. It's a food festival, so it comes, with a fair amount of curiosity as to what the caterers will present this year. And so far, I'm not disappointed. This is my family.
Well, my experience has been good. The food is excellent. And suppose when you come here, you will get lamb in different styles that you don't normally do at home. So that's why I come.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Welcome this morning to Beneath the Surface on GMT. I'm your host, Ria Richardson George. Really happy to be in your company. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Well, people, this is the final week of interviewing assemblymen. We're going to lead things up right on to Friday, where we will be chatting with Chief Fali Augustine. And we're going to have some ins and outs, have an idea of the goals, in fact, the accomplishments, achievements, and their goals for the future. Now, on the program this morning, we are chatting with Assemblyman Zorisha Hackett, representative for the Bethesda-Leketo community, and she's also the secretary in the Division of Education, Research and Technology. Good morning and welcome to your
Good morning, Ria. Good morning, Tobago. It's a pleasure being here.
Really good to have you on our program. Yes. I know you're tired. Yesterday was the screening.
Yes,
and we saw you out in your blue. Yes, give us an idea before we start things up this morning. What was the process like for you?
Humbling, because as an incumbent, you expect that your work would speak for itself. But because it's such a really rigid democratic process that our political party has, we had to be subjected to that. And so persons in my community were able to place their hat in the ring as well. And so it gave me an opportunity to really reflect on my stewardship as area representative. And then, of course, as secretary over the last 4 years, I've been sitting as area representative for 5 years, actually, because as you would appreciate in that 6-6 period, I was area representative of Plymouth Golden Lane, now transitioned into area representative of Bethesda-Leketo. And so I sat and I really looked back and reflected and tried to be very critical of my stewardship. And I welcomed those other persons placing their hat in the ring. So 3 of us were screened for that Bethesda-Leketo seat. And so I'm wishing, my competitors all the best as well as we look forward to who moves to that next level.
You're wishing them the best, but hoping...
May the best man or woman win. Yeah, we definitely have to support each other. I think that, this political party, only 2 years old, has attracted really competent Tobagonians, persons that are passionate and purpose-driven. And so we welcome the democratic process and what ensues as a result of that. So we're looking forward to the 15 best candidates who we think can take Tobago into the next term.
All right, okay. And certainly you hope to be amongst them.
I certainly do, but I am going to support whoever that eventual candidate is. I think that's the spirit of us as a TPP family.
Okay. And what do you think? What do you think your chances are?
I think they're extremely high. I think, again, my work speaks for itself, but I respect the process.
Yes.
And so I look forward to the revelation of these 15 candidates. It was a really good interview last night. As an incumbent, you're judged at a different yardstick. The panel was extremely critical of that tenure as both rep and secretary. And so the questions I think the incumbents would be asked would be different from someone now jumping into the fray. And so we were asked to account for that 4-year period, being members of the Executive Council and being members, of course, of the Assembly itself and that representational side of the politics. And I think that, I responded well. It was very authentic, very genuine. It came effortlessly because I just spoke to what I've been doing for the last 4 years in my district and in my division.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, let's jump right into things.
No
you
problem.
are quite ready to jump right into things.
Yes.
Now, when you assumed the role of secretary,
yes.
What were your top 3 strategic priorities for the Division of Education, Research and Technology, referred to as DIRTech, and how did you decide on them?
Okay, so the decision for strategic priorities doesn't only come from a secretary. As an executive council, we sit down and we look at what we've met, coming into the Tobago House of Assembly. And so Chief Secretary actually furnished all the reps who were secretaries with mandate letters. And so he placed particular areas of focus for every secretary to be assisted with your assistant secretary to get those mandates covered. In my mandate letter, I was given most of the long-standing issues we battle with as an education district. And so my mandate letter spoke to areas such as contract teachers and, ensuring that we can have some job security for them and placing them eventually on that establishment. But the establishment itself needed some auditing and rectifying because, as you would appreciate, when this was created, we did not have 9 secondary schools on the island, with 3 of them being government assisted, which of course the process for that establishment would be different from the government schools. And so that was key on that list. We felt as if no former Secretary of Education pushed the envelope as it related to the curriculum. And the Tobago House of Assembly does afford Secretary of Education the opportunity to treat with, as prescribed by the 5th schedule, curriculum. And so we wanted some transformation of our curriculum and to make it Tobago-centric and to place the focus on 12 pillars that we felt would give that greatest little island on the planet, trajectory of the Tobago child, and to have the Tobago child grounded in these ideologies that would make him or her global citizens while maintaining, again, that Tobago identity. We also wanted to treat with inclusion, inclusive education in its truest sense. That was a priority as well. And we also wanted to focus on our students who are learning along that spectrum and ensuring that the curriculum is tailored to have them not be disadvantaged. And those were the 3 top priorities to me. I felt as if we glossed over inclusion. It was a buzzword in the space and no one actually took the time to, to relate to what is happening in our schools. Because we have 2 different scenarios. We have scenarios where the infrastructure and even the teaching learning mechanism is not equipped in a particular way to treat with the students who can work or operate in our actual education system with some additional support. And then we needed to have a space where students who could not be facilitated in that particular regular public schooling to be given specific, unique attention in a space that would also have them blossom and bloom from as early as that ECC level all the way into adulthood. And so that special school was on the front burner for us as an administration, because we felt as if what we currently have, Happy Haven, and of course the School for the Deaf, Speech and Language Impaired, needed some augmentation and needed some additional support. And we felt as if this plan to have this new campus right there in Signal Hill had been languishing for years. And so as an administration, again, we wanted inclusion, as in utilize our actual plans, the facilities we have now, and retrofit them to ensure that they can be access points throughout, while providing with the teacher support and the training required for the teachers there on the actual establishment to be able to provide that additional support for the students who require that. That was one end. And to, beef up and ramp up the type of support we give to those who could not operate in the regular teaching environment. So those were the three priorities for us: our contract teachers and the HR issues, our Tobago-centric curriculum, and ensuring that we push that as an agenda, because we understood the importance of that cultural transformation, which was a priority area of the Ministry of Education, and the fact that as a Tobago House of Assembly, we had responsibility for curriculum and we were not moving on that responsibility. And then finally, inclusive education, but special education as a whole.
Very nice. And those were your top three priorities.
Yes, they were.
Now tell us about, in terms of those three priorities, how many, which of them was fully achieved, which one is still in progress, and which one you may have changed, if at all?
So none have changed. They've remained priorities, although other issues and challenges came to the fore that, of course, would pull you away from the priorities a bit to address. They've not all been achieved, because I think that they are not overnight. Renovating and improving the facilities of the Happy Haven and the School for the Deaf, while building out the plant at Signal Hill, came to the fore. So we decided, listen, you can't build a campus in a month, in a year. Having the land, building out a user brief of what we actually want that facility to look like, took some time. We did some serious consultation as well, because we wanted the actual stakeholders involved there to be able to have a say. And I think what usually happens is government becomes very enthusiastic and runs out and gets these projects started. But are they really, are they able to really meet the needs of who we're building them for? That was the challenge. And we did not want this to be another government-driven project where we toot our own horns and we feel as if we're giving the stakeholders and the actual end users, something that we think they need. But we had them as a part of the entire project. And we were able to have some public consultations all around the island. And technical advisor Natasha Second took the lead on that. And we were able to build out the policy for what we wanted inclusive education to look like in general, and what we wanted this special campus, the special education campus, to look like. And so that happened. Full user brief delivered to us by that special education committee. And we're able to, again, secure the land, and we're going to start construction soon in this fiscal. As a matter of fact, it's one of our 45 in 45 priority projects for this fiscal. We've secured the property, and then we're going to open for bidding for contractors to get on board with the construction of that. The Tobago-centric curriculum, again, not an overnight project. We had to, first of all, define what we meant by that, and how does that have us placed in the national landscape if we're trying to specify what we wanted to project as education here on the island, and without transforming it, because a lot of persons got very worried when they heard this. Does this mean our students are not doing the SCA exam anymore? Does this mean that our teachers would have to be retrained and retooled? It's an integration of Tobago-centric modules into what we currently have. So it's not a scrapping off. But it's an integration. So when our students leave the education system, they're fully equipped to operate in the real world, as I said before, while understanding and maintaining their identity. And so it, again, integration. But this could not happen overnight as well, Ria, as you would appreciate. We needed our teachers to be on board. And so we had to build out, again, we had to build out a policy and what the curriculum would look like. And we did not do that alone. So we actually engaged Tobagonians from different walks of life with different expertise, bringing different elements of their background and training to the table. And they sat as this Tobago-centric committee, Tobago-centric curriculum committee, and they were able to pull these elements together and help us to build out policy that would guide it, and then to also help us build out what the actual curriculum would look like, what a teacher can walk into a classroom and do. And again, it doesn't mean reinventing the wheel. It, for instance, means I'm teaching a math lesson, but I'm actually utilizing what we do in the market, or how we operate when we go to the bay to catch fish. If I'm teaching, for instance, a science lesson, I'm going to speak to the elements that are right here in our students' faces. So we're making it practical and relatable. If I'm teaching an English lesson, I'm going to enhance the importance of that Tobago English-based Creole. And the fact that when a student comes to school, they're not coming to learn the Queen's English and that whole notion of, what you're speaking is bad English, but understanding that what we speak is actually a language in its own right. And it's your first language. It's that language that you have, that you're exposed to before you get into the formal education system. And the fact that English-based Creole coming from a substrate African grammar and the phonology of it and even the morphology and so on, but the way we utilize it, and because persons don't have the understanding of where it comes from, the fact that other Caribbean islands celebrate their Creole, whether it's French-based or Dutch-based, we need to, re-educate our population on what it means to be Tobagonian and to celebrate all the elements that come with that. So it's that type of integration that is required for us to re-educate our Tobagonians. And that is why, as I said before, that is not overnight as well.
Right.
Because it means that our teachers will have to be on board,
Yes.
and we may have to train and develop them and even expose them to some elements they themselves would not have been exposed to before they get into the classroom. What we understand and appreciate, though, is the fact that when we came with these buzzwords, Tobago-centric, and we're going their teachers on their own right, without us even prodding them, we're able to actually integrate in a very seamless and organic way. And because they understood, yes, this is an element that's missing from our education system, they were able to just run with it. So because we've had that buy-in naturally, when we have to push it out in a formal way, I think that we're going to have the successes we're looking forward to. And then that establishment, that HR issue, very long standing. That is the one that was the biggie, because we had several teachers going over that age of 45 and not yet regularized and a part of it. And to enter the teaching service, you have to be below that 45 years. That's the threshold.
Right.
And that was one that we, as I said, very long standing, and require that we really get that support from the central government, because it has to be taken to cabinet, and it has to be, although we've done the background work, it had to be where we needed that collaboration to take it to that endpoint. And the establishments of our schools, as I said, those needed to be treated with. And so that one was a bit more complicated than we had expected, but we worked really hard on getting it to a point where I think we've made some major wins there.
All right, but we're going to take a break. That was a mouthful. That was a lot.
Yes.
All right, but we've got lots more coming up on Beneath the Surface. And, Secretary, there are those who believe, and we're going to come to that just after the break, that because you came up within the trenches of the education system, there's some who believe that more could have been done, that you may have understood the plight of the teacher because you were in the mortar.
Yes.
You were, yeah. There's more in the mortar besides the pistol. You were in the mortar, and as a result, that you would have understood the plight of the teachers, and that more could have been done within the division.
We'll discuss when we return.
We're going to discuss some of those things
No
when we
problem.
come back from the break this morning. So stay with us, viewers. Join us just after this.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, buljoil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads and pasta salads. snacks. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor, to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong.
Viewers, welcome back to Beneath the Surface. Straight talk, no chaser. That's right. We're still chatting this morning with Assemblyman Zorisha Hackett. We needed some reminder of viewers as well that she did have a very short stint within the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation. So, of course, we'd like to have an idea of how that that short stint may have prepared or not prepared her for the task ahead of the Division of Education.
All right.
Tell us this morning, how was that short stint for you?
When I was placed there, I was given, the responsibility for culture and antiquities, but with a caveat that I'm to be there until it's revoked, and it has not yet revoked. So I'm still responsible for the culture and antiquities departments in the division, so the work continues. It was.
How do you balance?
I was just going to say that.
Because quite recently as well, we saw where Councillor Boris had a leave of absence, and you filled in. The chief asked you to fill in.
Yes.
So you were balancing that, still with DIRTEC, and still with culture and antiquities. So how do you, please?
Wow.
We'd like to know.
I'm trying to figure it out myself, but I think when you're passionate,
Do you have a clone?
No,
Is there something we're not seeing?
I think passion makes it work. I think when you don't look at it as work, but when you look at it as fulfilling something bigger than you, it definitely doesn't come across as work. Yes, there is a balance required because the Division of Education is no walk in the park. And I don't have an assistant secretary. So, I have to ensure that I hold down the fort there. Such a dynamic division, so many responsibilities there. Schools, the libraries, those two special purpose companies, THDI and TITL, and we have one of the largest staff on the island. Actually, one of the larger divisions is the Division of Education. But I think what I did there came effortlessly because I was able to just be me there. It didn't take a lot of brain power. It didn't take a lot of extra energy. I was just able to effortlessly move into this space. And what I did a lot was listen. A lot of the stakeholders wanted that listening air. And I looked at the work Secretary Boris and Assistant Secretary George did. And it's quite a lot of work that they did establishing this brand new carnival from, the ground up after concept that a lot of Tobagonians had and just needed a political organization that had that will to make it happen. And it came with a lot of sacrifice. It came with a lot of teething problems. But I think we're on the right path towards, really getting this as our top festival here on the island. And again, the stakeholders just wanted to be a part of it. And we were able to bring them to the table as we've always done, but in a different way this time. There was an advisory team made up of the stakeholders that directly impacted the carnival. And I think sitting in with them and listening, not just pushing the mandate on them and having it as our vision that we want you to execute, we were able to have them plan and have TFCL do the execution. And I think that took a load off of TFCL. I think that they've been spreading themselves thin, coming up with the projects, coming up with the initiatives, coming up with the ideas of how they want these events to roll out, and executing it is a lot. And so having a committee that, you know, sits with the policy makers, sits with the administrator, the technical advisors, and actually translate that to what it's going to look like, I think that was a good thing. We also had a very successful Blue Food Festival in spite of the weather. I mean, last year the weather wasn't so bad. We were very surprised, but this year we went straight back into what we know the Tobago Blue Food Festival brings, the rain. But I was so, you know, taken aback by how many persons were still there enjoying this newly upgraded Bloody Bay space and, you know, just soaking it all in. And I think it's one of the festivals that remained true to its essence.
Yes.
And, you know, we don't want to stray too much and over commercialize it, because I think that community has done an excellent job in curating this product that we are so proud of. And the Tobago House of Assembly continues to support them in that venture. So again, it was effortless to me, Ria, because I think that my personality lends to that very outgoing, you know, people focused.
Outdoor.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah.
So it came naturally.
All right. And certainly you bring the Zorisha to the table. You definitely do.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk a little bit here about what we mentioned just before we took the break with regards persons on the ground, teachers, feeling that more could have been done within the 4-year period.
Okay.
Because you came up within the trenches, you understood the plight. There's some issues that you yourself experienced. And there are persons within the system who are experiencing such.
Right.
And they felt that more could have been done.
Okay.
What do you say to that?
Right. So teachers, or the organization, the union that operates with teachers, because Ria, I'm actually getting a different story on the ground. When I entered this division, we had over 200 teachers on contract. We're currently down to about let's say about 140 or thereabout, which means a number of teachers have moved off of contract and are now in the service. Temp appointments, a lot of them were given. And you get teachers calling all the time to say, you know, we've seen the progress.
Right.
But Ria, what I want us to also appreciate is the fact that it cannot happen in a 4-year period. This has been a long-standing issue. The issue of gratuities, increments, again, as I spoke to, how many teachers we have on contract because our establishments have not been sorted. And so the movement has happened. What we've not done, to me, enough is celebrate the wins. And I'm very guarded when I do that, because I know of how deep the issues are and how long-standing they are. And, you know, where persons may celebrate some wins like that, I won't, because, again, I labored in the vineyard and I know what it means to not have that job security. I know what it means to work for a contract period and, you know, you don't have that gratuity, which you would. You get that staff appraisal done, and once it's satisfactory or above, you know, that's owed to you. And we had so many teachers. But what I can tell you, we've done the most payouts in gratuity of any administration over the 44-year period of the Tobago House of Assembly. And we spoke about it in the House last week. The fact that because we don't toot our own horn and because we don't celebrate what we deem to not be the major wins, the public probably is not as informed as they should. And I was telling the chief that, you know, what we may think is minor is major for a lot of persons. And we need to start speaking, at least if we're not celebrating it, but at least informing the public of what we've been able to achieve. When I spoke in the House last week and I called the numbers, the figures of how much we've been able to do, nearly $80 million in gratuity payments in that 4-year period when compared to a 1/7 of that by the former administration in the same 4-year period. I think that's something to celebrate. And because we had to clear that backlog, you would have persons in this particular period, this this right now currently experiencing a gratuity payout because we've had to go all the way back to persons being over that 9 years, 10, 12 years. There was a teacher 14 years and had not even received one payment. And so we had to go all the way back because I believe in the first in, first out system. If you're there waiting for a longer period, someone who's just joined the teaching service, someone who's just joined us at the Division of Education, shouldn't be in the front of the line. And then we had teachers retiring without their leave categorized, affecting their pension. And so we had to take it all the way back. And this speaks to our resilience as well. The fact that we came into this understanding that we had a lot to fix and actually taking it all the way back to get it fixed. And it's unfortunate that we just could not serve in the period given to us and treat with the immediate because there was so much there languishing and left behind to be dealt with. And so if we really have to be honest, a lot was done. But because there's so much to be done, it seems as if it's a 2 steps forward, about 4 so backwards because of the work. But I think again, Ria, that a one term is not enough to treat with the issues we faced. And I also spoke to the chief about that consistency, right? In ensuring that when we treat with, let's say it's gratuity, we keep at it. Because once you move your focus from there, the backlog occurs again. The issues, taking those issues to Minister of Education, because even if we do a lot of the groundwork here, a lot of it can't happen here in Tobago. We need a Teaching Service Commission. We need a CPO. We need a minister to take a note to cabinet. And if you don't have that collaboration between the central government and the Tobago House of Assembly, all the work we're doing here in the division would be, to naught. And one of the first things I did was send, probably the week after he was installed as Minister of Education, send all the policies we've been working on for the last 4 years to the minister and showed him, the work, but the fact that we needed some funding. When you send what it's required for us just to operate the run-of-the-mill projects and programs of the division, you don't get to delve into the work of transforming education. And that required the policy creation. But after the policy creation, without the funding to actually execute, then, we've done all this work in vain. And so when I sent him, he was like, Secretary, 4 years? All of this work in 4 years? Did you take up anything that was there before and, was able to take it beyond that level, build from that? And we had to admit, no. We had to start from scratch with a lot of these policies. The online education policy, for instance. The Ministry of Education doesn't even have a policy such as that. That is one that brings that interface between hybrid, what we call hybrid education. So the child who is not in school on any given day can log in on his or her device and in real time get the education that is occurring in the classroom. A teacher who, for some reason or the other, may have to go off on some type of training, or if they're on maternity, or can still interact with the classroom, right? And we realized that we missed a lot of the lessons from COVID. We were plunged into that unexpectedly, but we didn't take away the lessons of COVID. And so one of the first things I was able to do is to have the division procure what we call smart screens. Now it's extremely expensive. So we were only able to provide the 9 secondary schools in the first instance, but that's one of the projects we want to engage with in this fiscal, ensuring that the primary schools are now on board with that. So you can have the interface again of a teacher in a classroom, but a student who is off site being able to keep up. And we have students who for some reason or the other ill, or they have some challenges, or there's a movement or so, but not being in the classroom doesn't mean that you shouldn't access education in this world, in this global world that we're moving forward in.
Is this currently a part of the curriculum?
So the the online education is a policy we built out. We've been utilizing it in a pilot way. It's not established as yet because, of course, so that to happen, you have to ensure that your Wi-Fi in your school is up to par. So we've done that. We've done the networking and upgrading of that. Every school has that, but remember, it's one device per school. When you have a large school, let's say Signal Hill Secondary School with almost 1,100 students, every student who is not there in school on that day with a particular teacher cannot access this one smart screen to be able to have that, really function in the way we want it to. And so again, it's a work in progress. But the point is, once you have that policy and you have the will to make it happen, it's already halfway done. And what I think we were able to do is have the teachers trained and understand the importance of that modality of education. And they're excited because now students, even in the classroom, while the teacher is teaching, can utilize their devices. And so even that writing of the notes and so on in real time, a teacher can take a graph from off of that smart screen and it automatically is transmitted onto the devices of the students.
Right.
A lesson where a teacher would spend all this time writing notes on a blackboard and then the student copies it into a notebook. You're able to just upload it even before the lesson begins. So it gives the student the opportunity to be, very on par with what the lesson plan and what the curriculum would look like for any given academic year. And parents who are really vested in their children can jump into that as well and see what is expected of your child for a particular term. So not being in school, not being able to complete the notes on a board is no excuse for the type of education we want to render onto our students and our teachers here in Tobago.
What about your IT staff? Because in some cases, there is one IT staff per community who has to service primary and the secondary schools within that area. So what about your IT staff?
So one of the things we've been doing is collaborating a bit more with the Tobago Information and Technologies Limited, which is one of the special purpose companies that this division has some larger shares with. And so they've been able to assist us. But we have I think we have a very robust ICT unit. That is another one of the areas we were able to bolster. They had some challenges right before we took office with their unit in terms of the HR issues. They were not on par with their counterparts at the Ministry of Education. They had several challenges with their remuneration packages, and we were able to bring them up to that level. And so that unit also had a lot of vacancies, which we were able to fill. And I think we're in a better place as it relates to ICT support. We have a very strong unit head. And I think, again, with the collaboration with TITL, we've been doing some good work in terms of maintaining our devices and maintaining the infrastructure, that technology infrastructure. What we need more, though, is more devices in our schools. We've been having a lot of complaints, and I've seen it firsthand, where EDPM labs and our information technology labs, have been lacking devices, because if you don't maintain these devices, and we faced it really in that COVID period where we were not on our plans for about 2 or so years. So treating with that constant upgrade of the devices became a challenge. And so several of our devices we lost in that period. So, building back up stock is the challenge right now. And that's one of the areas I was able to speak to Minister of Education about, the fact that, yes, we're very grateful for the opportunity being given to our SCA students moving into first form with the laptops, but we have a greater need. We need to supplement our labs. We need our teachers to also be able to access devices while they're there in school. So in our space, we need to do a bit more to ensure that the technology is really being able to be accessed. We also have a challenge where several parents come to us all the time. My child is in 5th form. My child is in 4th form. I can't afford a device, and they're not able to complete their SBAs and, these additional devices. When I got to the division, we had to ask Corporate Tobago to jump on board to, sponsor some devices. And we got a lot in that first year or so coming out of COVID. But of course, you can't go to the same businessmen all the time to ask for that support. So that's another area that we're asking TITL to assist us with, procuring devices where we can assist students. This is outside of school now. A child who does not have the device at home, a parent who just can't afford to be able to provide that device for those that I need. Because if we're pushing technology and we want as an island to have education and innovation as priority areas, and in treating with the SDG goals, goal number 4 of quality education, then we need to ensure that access is it's there, and we have persons who understand the fact that there's a Tobago House of Assembly who can meet that need if they can't meet that on their own.
All right, access granted 24/7. Yes. All right, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, Assemblyman, we want to have an idea of, what's been happening within the Bethesda Lekato community,
Sure.
some of the initiatives that you've
Sure.
rolled out, and where we are in regards to where, in fact, the status, a status report.
No
All right,
problem.
so we're going to take a break, viewers. Remember, this is Beneath the Surface. Straight talk, no chaser.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger.
Viewers, welcome back. This is Beneath the Surface, straight talk, no chaser. We're still chatting this morning with Assemblyman Zorisha Hackett. We're going to delve a little bit into her electoral district,
Yes.
Bethesda, Lekato.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit here about what has been happening within the electoral district that you feel, maybe you can pat yourself on the back or toot your own horn, so to speak. Tell us about some of the initiatives that were implemented under your tenure.
Well, first of all, Ria, you would appreciate that when we do these initiatives as area representative, we don't do it out of funding of the Tobago House of Assembly. It's done straight out of our pockets. And if we can get sponsors on board, that's a plus. But I wanted to say that because I think sometimes persons, they judge area reps on how many initiatives they were able to roll out. But that requires some financial discipline because you have to understand how you're balancing that with your salary. And therefore, what I've been able to do is to put aside a percentage of my salary every month. So if the sponsorships don't come through, I can still roll out with these projects because my electoral district, and I'm very sorry to label it like that, but the statistics show it's one of the crime hotspots of the island. And we were able to, really look into the figures, look into the numbers. The data was able to inform us that a lot of our young persons felt, disenfranchised and they were not empowered. That if they did not have a job from the Tobago House of Assembly, that they're nobodies or they couldn't, take responsibility for their lives. And what I wanted to do, this give a man a fish and feed him for a day, but teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime became one of my, mantras. I didn't want to just do the handouts in my district. That's very easy. You take the hampers to those in need. You assist those with upgrading their homes. And yes, that's a responsibility. The social work part of it is a responsibility of area rep and one that I value. But I wanted to empower my young people. And so I sat one day with my district staff as well as my advisor. And I said, listen, as Secretary of Education, there must be some opportunities for us to pilot some projects in a smaller way and see how they work. And then you can build the policy out for an island-wide initiative. And I sat and I looked at how many skills we are not able to teach in our actual formal education system. And I also looked at the competencies of my residents and realized that we had several with skills that they weren't able to transition, pass the baton on because there was no avenue for that. At that point in time, the Lekoto Community Center was being refurbished. And I looked at the other two, Golden Lane and Bethesda, and I was like, we have these beautiful spaces there, only being utilized probably for a reception, a wedding reception, a christening, a graduation. But I wanted to see these community centers come alive and be utilized all the time. I must see a community center as that hub for young persons or elders. They can walk in there and walk out of there empowered. And so we sat down and we pulled together a skills training camp for young persons because, when you expose persons to skills, they're in their teens. But I felt like if we expose them earlier, then that passion and interest would be able to bear fruit. And so we sat down in that first year, we came up with 30 skills.
30.
From hairdressing to farine making to carpentry to just name it, Ria. And that first year we had about 85 or so coming down to the end of it because you have a lot of persons applying, but there's so many camps happening. At that same time, we had it the first 2 weeks of that July-August vacation. And I said, it's clashing. So this year, I wouldn't go the first 2 weeks. I'm going to go more August when most of the camps are finished. And now parents are there with their children wondering what to do. I mean, it's 8 weeks. And for some strange reason, everyone puts their camps 2 weeks after school is closed and then nothing else for that 6-week period. But Ria, what I appreciated about the camp was that the majority, almost 80% of the tutors or facilitators came from my electoral district. And it was their way of giving back. And this year I gave them a stipend and a lot of them gave it back to me. I wanted to show them that I value their work, but they were like, no, utilize this for another initiative. So they gave back. Some of them took this stipend and bought hampers and brought back to the district office for me to give to someone in need. And I really appreciated the fact that the community saw it as not something to make a dollar from. It wasn't something to hustle. This was a skill they had, God-given talent that they were able to pass on. And a lot of these tutors were elders who felt as if their own children weren't interested in that skill. Crocheting, embroidery, as I said, carpentry, masonry. And we got a lot of the Tobago House of Assembly divisions employees there to come on board as well. They saw it, were very interested and called me, how do I come and I give back there? And then at the end of the 2-week period, you had a nice graduation ceremony where the students got a certificate explaining that they were participants in this particular skills training camp. And you know what's beautiful about it? You have parents calling me all the time. Now that you've exposed my child to this particular skill, they want to get onto it full scale. How do I now take them to that next level? And that's where we have a concern because for some of them, the cosmetology, anything beauty culture There's a lot of that in this space.
Yes.
But there's some particular areas that we're not getting young persons so interested in because they're seeing it as hard work and getting themselves
Agriculture,
dirty.
farming.
Yes, they don't want it. They want the quick money. And you see this culture where we have where you can sit in front of a screen, for instance, and you get some followers and now you're an influencer that make that easy money now. Taking them back to basics, using their hands, being able to put something in the ground, as you said, agriculture and reap the rewards there. We're having a challenge educating our young persons on the value of that type of skills training. So we have some work to do.
What have been some of your major challenges? And I know we're running out of time here, but your major challenges with regards implementing, coming up with initiatives, but implementing these said initiatives.
So the community has been neglected for a very long time, I believe, in terms of some of the infrastructural developments they wanted. So when you're coming with these initiatives, people enjoy them in the moment, but they don't see the value of beyond. They get back to, as an area rep, we want your road, our roads fixed, we want this built and so on. And I think it goes both ways. Yes, you get those things done as an area representative. So the roads, the trains cleaned, you ensure that you get the refurbishment of your facilities that have been there for a long time. But valuing the education of your community is something that I really wanted my residents to buy into. We have a lot of it. Middle-aged and elders understanding the value, but our young people, you know, this get it fast now culture, that needed some education. And what we were able to do in our community forums is explain to the community that it's not the area representative's job alone to hold a community together. We needed that interaction from the church, from our village councils, from all those special interest groups, the fisher folk, you know, or PTAs. And I think I was able to get all of the community, that whole of community approach into building back, you know, the values of a community such as Bethesda, Lekoto. The work continues, Ria, because of course you would appreciate that it does not happen overnight. And the fact that an area representative is not the sage on the stage, you know, this is my district and this is the way I want it to be done and trying to prescribe the initiatives to the residents. You don't get buy-in that way. But having these different interest groups coming to the table, what do you think our elders need? And having elders themselves say, when our children go off to work all day and we're home, we want some additional support to understand the technology. So having TITL now move around the island. And that's the thing, whenever I push these initiatives and I need the Tobago House of Assemblies supporting it, I try to build it out for all 15 districts because you want it to be an all of island being lifted together, not just your district. And when we put the resources together like that and you have the actual residents of the community helping you build out the initiative, you feel more valued. If you feel as if it's more worthwhile and the buy-in comes naturally because they see it as their baby as well. And you are not just the one, you know, trying to get some fame or clout from it as an area representative. But what you also have is the fact that, you know, that blueprint has been set by the community itself. So no matter who's sitting in the seat of area rep, they have these initiatives vested in them that they can pass on and keep. Because one of the things I have a challenge with, Ria, is someone owning a project that if that person isn't there, the project disappears with them. And I think some of the projects that we have in the district, because again, they've been built by the community themselves, they're going to live beyond me or my tenure as area representative. What we also have is now that the Lekoto Community Center, and I'm speaking about that one because that was a major accomplishment. I think the community cried out for that for a while. And when they were able to get it, we have a lot of businessmen with roots in Lekoto wanting to give back in a way that I think the area representative can just support from the background. So Mr. Richardson, for instance, when I went to him with some ideas, he was able to tell me, listen, right now, we want to build out a homework center in this newly refurbished Lekoto Community Center. And as Secretary of Education, this is what we're going to ask you for. But this is what we've already done. And so we just need your support. And the thing is, when you have residents so invested in a community where you, as the area representative, can just stay out of the limelight and give the support from the back, you feel as if your work is really being done. Because an area representative's role is not to lead everything, but to provide some support from the background, some advice, probably access to the resources that are there, inform what the Tobago House of Assembly has to offer, and give persons, that pathway for access. But it's not always front and center, and it's my initiative and my name on it, And I think that my district really has had that opportunity to build these initiatives with me. Almost 70 or so of those initiatives over the last 4 years. Some repeated, some we curate for a particular season, some that are school focused, some that involve the wider community, some that are age specific, some that treat with social work, some that treat with empowering our young people, and even our elders who feel as if, I've already given my contribution, but what more is there to do as I'm in my retirement? So all these initiatives, as I said before, over the years, were not just the brainchild of area representative, but some came out of the hearts and minds of residents, and they just needed that space or that avenue to be able to have them implemented. And I love that.
Question: if you had the opportunity to shift communities, would you?
No, I would not.
What would you say is special about Bethesda Lekoto?
Right. So when the district was Plymouth Golden Lane, so I was born and raised in Bethesda itself. But in that specific community, yes, and that specific community, Bethesda doesn't see itself as a part or separate from Plymouth. So when the district shifted to Bethesda Lekoto, I was like, what? Does the EBC even know what they're doing? It's as if you're telling Egypt it's different from Bethel. You know what I mean? It's a subset of. And so it's where I was born and raised. And although I moved out of that village after high school, that's where 3 of my grandparents were born and raised. 3 of my 4 grandparents is where most of my cousins live. It's where the family ties are. It's where my navel string is buried. And so that's where my heart is, where home is where my heart is. And I don't think that representation should just be, all right, this is a seat I think I can win. Let me just tick myself into it. You need to be directly invested in it. There must be a part of you that feels as if, you are beholden to that particular community. This is a community that grew you. This is a community that was able to raise you as a child and give you the values that you now are able to utilize in service. So it's almost like a giving back. You gave me, you molded me, you brought me to this particular point. And now I feel as if I have to demonstrate, my appreciation and love for you. So I'm giving back in that way. And so I think that attachment would never have me, asking to shift district or seeking another district, although I don't live in my electoral district, which in itself, Ria, is a challenge. It is so different to wake up amongst your people and actually experience,
what they experience.
Yes. Now, being very much engaged with the daily lives of your residents, you have an idea of, and because I'm so closely attached with my residents and they're able to be in a forum where every issue is placed before me on a daily basis, and I myself make it my business too, but nothing beats waking up in a district. Now, that makes you work even harder because the area rep who lives in the district has easy access. They see that car driving in, you walk to a shop right there, they know where you live, they can knock on your door. But what this means to me is that I have to make an extra effort to ensure that I remain grounded with my district, because not living there doesn't mean that, you just, all right, I'm not living there. So no, you have to make it your business to be a part of their daily lives. That's what they expect of you. And so that's not an excuse to me. It just means that I can't, just wake up and walk down the street. I have to jump in my car and get in the district and spend longer hours actually communicating and engaging with them, because I don't have the luxury of, them just walking up to my door and tapping on my gate or calling me out.
Right.
So that means that I have to put aside time, balance that life of being secretary and area rep to ensure that my district, which comes first, if you're not elected as an area rep, you don't have the job of sitting on an executive council. And for me, that is the priority, serving my residents, So yes, that's a non-issue. I definitely wouldn't want to change electoral districts or anything.
What would be your one regret?
Regret. Ria, I don't have regrets, I learn from whatever challenges I've had. Regret.
That one thing you regret, maybe within your 4-year period.
Regret. Ria, regret is a word I don't have in my vocabulary, Lessons learned from every issue, and I don't ever look at it as failure or so. what is the lesson I've learned from this?
So
How
what
could
are
I
your
have done
lessons?
this?
What are 2 lessons that you would have learned along the way that you think would, it would take you throughout the rest of your life?
So I understand the importance of people and not taking them for granted. And I think a lot of us as representatives or leaders, we forget our why. So you're very passionate when you're vying for the seat and you want to be placed out there. And then when you get into it, the job itself consumes you. And so I think that one of the things that I've taken away from this is the value of people. And it's not because people are depending on you, because not everybody's depending on you. Some persons have made their lives and they just want good representation for their district. And what I understand in this period is the fact that some people just want to pray for you. Some people just want to let you know they're supportive. Some people want to be able to give you the criticisms in your face, to let you know you've been straying here, or this is another direction you can take it, to give you advice, to make some recommendations, to finally be heard and seen. And I think nothing beats that engagement with your district and valuing everyone, from the doctor in your district to the fisherman, from the single mother to he or she that has a grounded family base. And from the youngest resident to the oldest resident, everyone has a voice. And you become that voice when you sit in the assembly, and you're supposed to represent every voice at that table. After the election, the political colors come off. And every resident, from the one who told you don't come into my yard, I wouldn't support your political organization, to your most avid supporter, requires that representation. And the electoral district has moved a bit in terms of numbers from 2021, when I faced the polls in December, to now. Several persons are now of the age to vote. So they will spend the last 4 years understanding the politics. We've had some persons who passed on. So you've lost some of your electorate there. We've had some community extension and expansion. So that in itself brought some extra residents into my community. But I look back at this 4 years as valuing every voice and understanding that you don't know it all as an area rep, or you don't have the solution for everything as an area rep, and depending on your residents to keep you, at it, and to keep you grounded, and understanding that leaving the ground is a no-no. Balancing the division and the district is a challenge, but find ways of sacrificing whatever you need to sacrifice to ensure that your people come first, because without them, you don't have a job.
Okay. All right. We've got just 2 more questions before we wrap up here.
No problem.
Our director is saying that we're out of time. But how would you rate yourself? How would you rate your performance over the last 4 years? 5 years?
Yes.
Because we cannot negate that 6 period. No, we cannot.
An A-. I prefer to go with letters than numbers. An A-, Ria. There's always room for improvement. I'm a perfectionist. I always sit. When you were a civilian, a regular resident looking on, what did you want from your area representative? When you were a teacher looking at secretaries of education, what did you want from your secretary? Are you fulfilling what you yourself wanted? And so you see, reflection and introspection, Ria, I make it a big thing. I come home. What did you do today that you could have done better? What did you gain today? What was an achievement? What was something that you envisioned you would have already achieved at this point, but you have not? And you see, being your strongest critic is extremely important. Also, listening to that constructive criticism when it comes. A lot of persons become very defensive, when they're being called to account for their stewardship. But I use that as an opportunity for self-improvement and self-reflection. And I think that that's one of the strengths I have. Okay, learning from it. You don't know it all. We've never been placed in these positions before, and so we had an opportunity to, with a steep learning curve, to just get in and deal with the business of the people. I also think that your passion and your purpose and understanding who you are as a person should never be lost in this. And one of the things I think I was able to maintain is my personality. In spite of everything that we've been through, I remained me. And, persons tell me that, you see politicians change, or, you had to tone down a part, or you had to augment a part, but you remain consistently you, bubbly, energetic you, and we love that about you. And the fact that, yes, people talk about, the outside appearance all the time, but you are so humble when it comes to how you relate to people. I am not perfect, though, Ria, and I like when people call that out, and I'm able to get what they're saying out of it, because people want you to win, you know. I think in general, Tobagonians want to see us win, and they saw us as a new, young organization, and they held us in such high esteem. So anytime they think we're straying from, you know, what they see us as and are able to achieve, they want to call us back and remain focused. It's not going to be easy. Your first term, when you can get away with the newness of it all, a second term in office is no walk in the park. And I know Tobagonians are going to hold us to account, even more so if we're given another opportunity to serve. And I look forward to that. I also look forward to some mentorship. And I always ask for that. You know, I can learn some more. And so I've reached out to former secretaries of education, for instance, and former area representatives. What did you not achieve that you think, you know, you can assist me in having the district achieve now? Okay. What didn't the division achieve? Something you worked on that you weren't able to fulfill. I can assist there. Let's work together. So that spirit of collaboration is also one of my driving points. I always look for opportunities to gain from someone who has walked the path before me, and to learn from their mistakes, and to be so guided by, you know, their strengths. And I think that's, you know, one of the areas that I think I've looked at why I've given myself an A-. I'm aiming for perfection. You can never be perfect. An A and an A+ would have to be given by the people. I think, you know, you're never able to truly give yourself. I mean, you can see where you want to be, but it's ultimately the people that would have to give me, you know, that score. And so I'm looking forward to what happens coming out of the screening process. And then, of course, the EBC's nomination process, and then the actual election. But however it goes, Ria, I am very grateful for having been given the opportunity to serve. I think it's a privilege. It's not a right. And, you know, once you get to this point, you need to understand the value of that calling, and the fact that persons believe that you had that opportunity and that right to be able to lead them in a particular way. And I am grateful to the residents of Bethesda, Leketo, Golden Lane, and Woodlands for this opportunity. And I look forward to serving them in or out of office.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it, because you just spoke directly to your electorate. All right. But we really want to thank you for chatting
You're
with
welcome.
us this morning. Assemblyman Zorisha Hackett. Straight talk, no chaser. It is Beneath the Surface, viewers. So you can join us tomorrow for another episode. We're certainly looking forward to chatting with our next guest. So have a great day, Tobago. Stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow. Blessed. Bye-bye.